Welcome everyone to Testosterone Levels, Chapter 2. The 5 pillars for healthy testosterone are body composition, blood glucose control, weight training, micronutrient intake, and detoxification. Now the 5th one is beyond the scope of this beginner level discussion. The purpose of this chapter is to give you a basic understanding of these so that you have internal motivation later on when that initial motivation wears off, when the honeymoon phase is over and you're trying to change these habits and you're left wondering why. If you have a basic understanding, you'll be able to remind yourself in the moment, oh, right, I'm supplementing that zinc because my balls need it to make testosterone. Or, right, I better reach for these eggs or leftover meat for breakfast instead of cereal because that supports stable blood glucose, which will bump up my T, and so on. Now, without further ado, let's hop right in. Number 1, body composition. So this is actually the single best metric for male testosterone levels. Now, even more specific is android fat, and this is the type of body fat, this is the body fat that is concentrated around your midsection. And this is really quite fascinating. As this goes up, testosterone comes down. As this type of fat decreases, testosterone goes up. So obviously, if you have an abundance of belly fat, you want to work on decreasing this. Now, there's many reasons to this. One of them is the more body fat you have in this central region, the more aromatase enzyme you have, which will literally convert your testosterone into estrogen. It's a really sinister cycle. Now, there's many more mechanisms, but we will get into that in later chapters. So first, obtain healthy body composition. Number 2, blood glucose control. And this is strongly tied to body composition, meaning that if you have some extra weight, your blood glucose control is going to be worse. Meanwhile, if you have healthy body composition, your blood sugar control will be automatically improved. Now, I love this silly example of the roller coaster to remember this. What you don't want is your blood sugar going up and down throughout the day over long periods of time, like the brand new roller coaster at the theme park. What you want is stable blood sugar because that bumps up T. And this is like the old wooden roller coaster, which is kind of boring, but close to flat. That's what you want. And later we'll talk about how you can achieve that with the way you eat, the way you train, and so on. Number 3, weight training. Now, note I specifically said weight training because the research shows that weight training is superior to cardio for increasing testosterone. This is very well supported in the research, and I present lots of data doing head-to-head comparisons showing that long-term endurance training actually has the opposite effect. So when I was training for High Rocks, which is an endurance event, my testosterone was actually much lower than usual. Now, I didn't care because I chose to do this and I enjoyed it and I knew this would happen. It's just an interesting fact, and it's how the body works. Number 4, micronutrient intake. Now, this is probably a missing component for many, even if you are consistent with your gym sessions, because what happens a lot of the time is perhaps men in particular, they hit the protein, carbs, fats, but they eat an abundance of processed food and or food from restaurants. And the problem is then they're lacking these micronutrients like vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, omega-3, etc. All of which and more, as I explain, decrease testosterone over time via a number of different mechanisms. I'll just finish with one specific example. Magnesium, commonly low because it's very difficult to get from diet, even if you're eating whole foods. This has to do with how much we have farmed over the years. Basically, we have stripped the soil lower. It now has fewer micronutrients, which then get into our food. So even if you're eating fruits and vegetables, it doesn't contain what it used to. So you need to supplement. Now, why is magnesium important? Well, because testosterone will bind to what's called sex hormone binding globulin. But if we don't have enough magnesium, that testosterone never gets a chance to be released from that protein, and therefore it's just bound up. It's like it's trapped. So you need magnesium to actually free it so that T can then actually go and bind to your receptors. And it's the binding to receptors which will actually address all those symptoms that we discussed earlier.